You're listening to the Dirty Air Podcast.
Hey, let me hear some Skinner, brother.
It's in the face, Dillman. In the face.
I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't know how to party.
And now, here are your hosts, Chuck Bush, Jonathan Merriman, and Matthew Dillner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a super special, exciting edition of the Dirty Air Podcast.
Why is it exciting?
Why is it exciting? I don't know. We had some drivers in here, and it was awesome.
Is that why that seat
That's why that seat next to Matthew
I feel
Dillner
like
is
Bobby
empty.
Vinton because I'm Mr. Lonely over here.
You're really sticking with that line.
Yeah,
We've
Bobby
tried
Vinton.
to take on this open like 3 times, and he's stuck with that line
I love
every
music.
time. I do too. I love music, but I love NASCAR as well. And we had 4 champions sit in that chair. Actually, technically 5, if you count other series in the NASCAR Major Touring Series.
Yes.
Yeah, so we there was a lot of
A
talent.
lot of champions.
A lot of champions sitting in that chair because it is Chase Media Day for the opening of the contender round here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame in the NASCAR.com studios. So, let's skip this because we had a weekend at Dover and a lot of things happened. But you know what? Let's go right to the horse's mouth, to the guy that won that race.
Kevin Harvick.
Roll it, Beatty. We're joined now by the winner of the AAA 400, Kevin Harvick. Kevin, thank you for joining us on the Dirty Air.
No problem. It's my I'm a first timer, so
Yeah,
Glad to be
first
here.
time, long time listener.
Do you like Dirty Air?
I don't like
No,
dirty air.
no.
I'd rather stay out of
We
it.
won't hold it against you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you did this weekend, getting the win at Dover. Just one quick racing question here. They expanded the restart box. You were the control car for most of the race. I mean, you led a lot of laps. Did that help out with you this weekend?
I felt like as the leader, and look, this is something that I think all of us drivers have been asking for a while, just to get that restart zone expanded. No matter how we all grew up racing, when you were the leader, you were the guy that earned that spot, whether it was on the racetrack, on pit road, strategy, whatever the case was, the leader deserved to be the guy that was in control of the restart. And as the leader, you always thought you were in control. And with those boxes being so short, everybody could kind of anticipate where you were going. And the way that it was, all being, I guess, regulated would say that there was a lot of gray areas. So I think as drivers, we were happy to expand that zone and be able to say, if you go early, you're getting penalized. You go late, you're getting penalized. If you're the second-place car and you beat the first-place car to the box, you're getting penalized. And those black and white rules make it a lot cleaner for us. And as the leader, you don't feel like you're at a deficit. And I think this weekend I felt like I was in control of the restarts and felt like, I wasn't looking to play defense leading the race. So I felt like it worked out well.
Coming in, you had 10 second-place finishes this year. You guys ended up winning the race you needed to win, but what's the difference in a second-place finish when you guys have been fast all year long and finally breaking through and getting that win? I mean, I can only imagine that the gray area in that's got to be small.
Yeah, I think for us, there's been a lot of crazy circumstances that we've been in, and it just hasn't worked out. But, fortunately, we've been around this long enough to know that those things are going to go in cycles, and luckily that cycle went the right way at the right time. So a lot of these things in the world in general are all about timing, and the timing was correct this time.
Okay, this chase creates kind of a drama. We all know it. We all love it. Okay, the 26th president of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, said, "Walk tall, carry a big stick." That's kind of seemed to be your motto on track and off track, especially with this chase.
Well, I think as a team, we've been fortunate to be there last year and have lived through the chase and survived and won. So I think as a group, you have that confidence in each other. You have the confidence in the situations that you've been in. And I think when you look at last week's situation, nobody let it eat them alive. And Zippy is big on when you're in situations or have something going on, not to let it consume you during the week. And I think everybody did a good job of just doing what they do. And, that's the same thing they did last year. And I think, the confidence that everybody has in each other, obviously it shows, to you guys, but, it's not something that we go beat our chest about, but we know that we can do the things that we need to do. It's just got to all work out.
And I got a question for you. I mean, earlier this year we had a discussion. I might or might not have been dressed up as a cat or squirrel.
Squirrel.
And this weekend we saw some sort of foul on the track.
Yeah, forgot about that.
What is your take on animals in motorsport?
Did you see it?
It's dangerous. I heard it was. That's all my son talked about. Daddy, did you see that baby duck?
Well, because I heard you had a comment on the radio. You said somebody ought to go to Newman's hauler. He might have a.
Yeah, he might have a bow.
Yeah.
I don't think that shooting the bow or the gun at that time with all the people around, but
I mean,
just depend on how desperate the situation got.
Right.
yeah. Basically, Keelan had a great weekend then. So he went to the racetrack, saw Daddy win, got to see a little duck,
Yeah.
and got to like play with stickers.
Yeah, so he was pretty happy. He was the most happy about Miles though.
He got that.
Oh yeah, so he got his own little miles too. Like in Victor Lane, he had a stuff
We
version.
got that one just in case that it didn't all work out. So we weren't leaving empty-handed without Miles. So.
Did you put it in the toy room or where'd you put it?
Oh yeah, trophies on the floor in his playroom. Yeah, he's the only kid that that has a playroom
awesome.
a playroom that smells like beer.
Might not be the only
You
kid.
just can't
yeah.
get the stench out of the trophy.
It's a porous trophy. Concrete
Yeah.
is a porous thing.
That's right.
One last question. We had Casey Mears on the show earlier this year, and we talked about your hometown, Bakersfield. And there's a famous song where, out there walking the streets of Bakersfield. What's your take on the streets of Bakersfield?
Depends on which street you walk down.
That's exactly what Casey said.
It can Bakersfield's a great town, but if you walk down the wrong street, it can be pretty rough. So you need to know where you're at.
Hey, you know what? If it's the right race situation, the wrong race situation, this guy could be pretty tough too.
Well, there you have it. Well, Kevin Harvick, thank you for joining us today on the Dirty Air, and good luck in Charlotte.
Thank you, guys.
Now we're joined by Brad Keselowski, driver of the number 2 Penske Ford. Brad, thank you for joining us on Dirty Air.
Dirty air.
Yeah, dirty air.
I don't like dirty air. So
Yeah. Hopefully the
offense.
podcast is more fun than actually racing in dirty air.
Yes, that's it. I like where your head's at
Why are you sitting so close to me?
because you asked me to.
There you go.
And rubbing is racing.
There you go.
Are you going to dump me or am I going to dump you?
You might fall off this chair. Look out.
Anyways,
If he falls, it's going to be a big thud.
It's going to be a big, yeah. We might take down the whole
That's a
studio.
really
dude.
mean thing to say about someone.
know.
I say it's stuff like that
Should we pick
to
on
him
his
all
beard?
the time.
No, I kind of like his beard,
It's,
actually.
it's a strong beard. I'm growing my
can't grow
chase
one.
beard out.
What is that called? Lumber sexual?
I
Have you heard of that?
have. And the fact that I'm wearing plaid and a vest and have a beard.
He looks like the brawny man.
Unlike lumbersexuals, I can actually chop down a tree and build an actual log cabin.
So you're saying you're
I'm
just
more of-
lumber. You're not lumber sexual.
I'm like a lumberjack.
oh boy. Well, I want to take the wheel here for a
Please, somebody.
second.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Yes.
We heard that in Bristol, and it was great. So we want to play a little game here, and we want to see if you remember where you finished in a random race, and we've picked one.
What?
The
Yeah.
2000.
I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Well,
but
so
go
This
ahead.
should be fun.
Well, if you can't remember, we'll tell you.
All right, go ahead.
All right, the 2012 EcoBoost 400 Homestead Miami. You clinched the championship. Where did you finish?
15th?
Boom, you nailed it.
Wow.
Do you know who won that race?
Jeff Gordon.
Who finished ahead of you in 14th?
My guess is Eric Almirola.
No, you got a pretty good relationship with this guy.
Dale Jr.?
No,
Joe
Logano. Who finished behind you?
Mark Martin.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
I thought you wouldn't know.
I remember the race pretty well.
Yeah. Why was it like some sort of big
Well,
thing?
how about post race?
Post race was the greatest thing I've ever seen on
I
television.
remember a lot of the post race. But no, what I remember about the race was it ended up being a fuel mileage race. And we did not play the fuel mileage strategy. So we were caught kind of on the bad side of it. But we had to finish 15th or better to clinch the championship. And Jimmy Johnson fell out. And we still finished 15th. So that kind of, I wanted to make sure we finished as high up as we could for that reason. And so no one would come back and say, well, Jimmy hadn't broke down. So that's what I remember.
Okay, the name Brad Keselowski. My name is Matthew Dillner, and when I check in to a hotel, they always get it like, hey, Matt Dillon or Matt Dilnard. I got Dilnard one time.
Dilnard?
What's the worst your name's been butchered?
You know, I always feel like if you start with a K when you're pronouncing my name and you end with a ski, I just kind of like round it together and
I kind
say,
of like K-Ski as a nickname.
yeah, you know, my uncle for a long time raced as Ron K, K-A-Y-E. In fact, he did that, I think, in the Smart Cup for a little while and then changed it back. But anyway, so what always kind of amazes me is when people add other consonants or vowels. Like my last name is Keselowski. So if you say like Kozlowski or something like that, that's kind of close. I'll give you that. If you say, Kasky or something like that, whatever, close enough. But when you add letters, that's when I always find it funny. Like when someone calls me Kresikowski, now you're just adding letters.
Like throwing in another consonant.
Yeah, now you're
what are
just
you
like, I don't even really care. Now, if you just butcher it on your own accord, that's one thing. I'm fine with that. But when you add other letters and consonants, I think that's
It's okay, Brad Kluski.
yeah.
Well, you started with a K and ended with a C. Yeah.
Well, moving on to chase
I
relevant
was actually
things.
kind of enjoying that.
Oh, you were?
Part of
It's
this.
fun
Sorry-
to ask
sorry-
like fun questions.
sorry to
started
bring
to
you
do
down.
You
some.
probably listen to all these racing questions all day, right?
So, what do you think my name is, by the way?
Brian.
Bradley.
Brad.
No, you probably think it's Polish.
Bradley. I'm Polish.
So what is the origin of your name?
I thought it was
Yeah, what do
Polish.
you think?
Polish would seem right, but I'm gonna go. I mean, Eastern Bloc.
I think it's Brazilian.
Brazilian?
I think, yeah.
Czechoslovakian.
It's close. No, I've been doing some genealogy. In fact, I just got a genealogy report back about a month ago, and it revealed that first thing you have to understand is Poland in the last 100 years has changed
Yes.
borders more than any other country on the planet,
Correct.
which is pretty remarkable. But actually, no, my name came back as being Russian.
Really?
Russia and Poland have a contentious history too.
So are
very
you out of
Irish.
the club? I mean, me, Charles Lewandowski, we kind of have like a little.
Yeah, well, my
so you're
name was
now out of the
originally
club.
spelled with a Y,
Oh wow.
and my family changed the spelling of the name upon immigration to avoid
That
persecution.
happens a lot, actually.
Yeah, my family immigrated in the early 1900s, right at the Russian Revolution, because they were having problems with everybody being killed. So they didn't want to get killed, so they immigrated to America.
So
Dude,
next
how
week
much-
on the Dirty Air podcast, we are going to be joined again by Brad Kozlowski, and we're going to discuss the origins of World War One.
Origins of World War I.
Yeah, because I feel
Why
like we
not?
could do a history
Russian
podcast.
Revolution. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a fun podcast.
Part of the origin. I mean, there was a lot of things
we're
going on at the
we're
time.
gonna scrap racing and just talk history.
Yeah.
But
I might find that more enjoyable.
I would too.
'Cause I talk
I'm a
racing
huge
all the
history- yeah.
time. So
Did-
Well, Brad, thank you for joining us today on the Dirty Air podcast. We tried to keep it light and we tried to go quick and
It was
hopefully
cool
didn't
that
waste.
we got no racing questions in.
actually, I think that's awesome. That might be my goal.
the rest
Hey,
of media day. If
come-
it goes like that, we're good, right?
Yeah, that'd
come
be
back
great.
anytime and you can pick the topic.
It's a deal.
All right.
I'm going to talk about clean air, the arch nemesis of this show.
Up next, we have Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 Joe Gibbs Toyota. Kyle, thank you for joining us here on the Dirty Air.
No problem. Appreciate that.
No, hey, thank
Why
you
are
for
you so
coming. Have you
high?
huh? Why am I so? I talk.
He was like,
I
"Oh."
get, when I get excited, I tend to like elevate the tone of my voice.
He has his vocal range. is-
like radio voice.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
well,
easy to
we're
have that
here
in
on the
these
Dirty Air.
microphones.
Yeah.
We
So-
could do like the NPR thing. You know, we're here on the Dirty Air and we're talking about things.
With Kyle Busch.
Kyle
Danica would
Busch.
enjoy to lay out the dirty air.
Okay.
Jonathan Merriman.
Yeah.
Love you,
let's,
Danica.
All right, so I am a newer reporter in the garage. I've interviewed
Fantastic.
you a couple of times in Victory Lane,
Still got the rookie
Indianapolis,
stripe.
Sonoma.
He does. He did
So-
this weekend too.
So yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
glad you remembered.
Oh,
It was,
yeah.
You know, making me feel all warm and fuzzy. Having said that, what is one thing a reporter does, whether you win a race, lose a race, come in midweek to do an interview? What is one thing that a reporter does that is your pet peeve?
I think it's the blatantly obvious times that they ask you a question when they already know the answer. Hey, so what happened out there? I blew a tire. Didn't you see it?
How does
Well,
that
would that
make
be-
you feel?
Yeah, how does well it hurt.
With that being said,
What would you like me to ask you?
I don't know.
well, could like we
There
come,
are no good questions in those
No,
times.
but
Just-
like in Victory Lane, like by the time we interview you,
Okay.
a couple
Victory
of interviews
Lane's
have already.
great.
Well, I mean, it's a great time, but all of the questions have been asked.
yeah.
So like, could we come up and go, Kyle, question 1, and then just get a response?
Right.
Could we do that?
You
And
could.
question 2, and then you'd have a just
Like, or if
Yeah,
I say,
just
you know,
randomness.
today's race,
Yeah. And
crew
then
chief,
yeah.
crew
repeat.
chief and team,
Right.
yeah.
points outlook.
No, it's in that regard. It's fine. It is what it is. It's kind of the part of the gig where you got to repeat yourself over and over. You know, you say the same thing on TV as you do in the media center, and they've already heard you probably. So that part of it's just that part of it. But no, in the times where it's frustrating times and not very happy times, you're just not going to get a very good answer from anybody, especially me.
Fair enough.
Both new dads, okay?
Yep.
I had one of those nights last night.
Okay.
Just one of those nights where had several pit stops and they did not go well.
Okay.
Well, I suck at changing diapers. I'm
Why?
not quick at it.
Huh?
I'm not quick at it. I'm not good at it.
Okay.
Have you gotten good at it?
Yeah.
Do you have any tips?
Yeah.
What?
So
Are you good at it, or is it just Sam do it all?
no, I
'Cause I'm trying to pitch in.
I do it. I'm good. I've only had him pee on me once,
Okay.
actually, so that's not too bad. For as many as I've changed, that's actually not too bad.
So he's good aim.
Huh?
So he has good aim.
Well, he didn't pee on me, but he peed while I had the diaper off, so I just covered it up. You know, those
Stiff arm?
PPTPs don't work.
No.
You got to stiff arm it.
Yeah.
Just let him pee on
Heisman.
himself. That just is what it is. So you're already cleaning him, so you're just going to continue cleaning him. But no, for me, I think the trick is that you get everything prepared. You go in reverse order almost. You got to take the diaper. You got to get it pulled out, stretch it apart, set it kind of like exactly where he is, but right next to him. And then, get the wipes kind of set out, whether it's 2, 3, 4, however big the mess might be.
It's my kid. It's big.
Yeah. Mine's getting bigger now because he's eating solids. So,
Merriman says I should have just held him upside down and hosed him off.
Well,
in
I
the sink.
also have a
You could.
theory which I don't know if you want to
upside down. You don't want the going past the face.
That's what I said. He said just hose them all off.
Well, if you want to like go in and invent something with me, like a parts washer for babies, but you don't recycle the dirty water.
Let's get safety clean on that.
Yeah, just like set them in there.
Just put him
spray
in
it off,
put him in a sink with like the pasta strainer.
Well, you don't want to do it with where
Like
you
a
eat.
colander.
You use that for edible things.
Well,
Like,
no,
you
you have
want
a
to-
No, you
designated
They
designate
designed
to
one
him.
for a baby colander.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
It's
anyways,
got maybe like some nice like little decorative things on it.
So
too, anyway.
I'm pretty decent at it. So I'll undo the diaper real quick. I'll wipe whatever I got to wipe, and then I'll put the diaper under them and over them and slap it back down, and pretty quick. Always hold their legs too, like when you're
Oh
changing
yeah, because he
them,
gets his feet in it.
because
It's bad.
otherwise their feet will fall, and then the feet gets in the brown stuff, and it's not good.
Hey, we
or
should probably
green,
move on from this crappy
orange.
conversation, shouldn't
Yeah.
Whatever color it might be.
we?
Nice.
Have you ever had it come out like a soft serve yet? No. It's hilarious.
I'm glad I already ate lunch. Earlier we had.
Hey, who's going for ice cream? Let's
you know
go.
What, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a mess, but it's
Yeah.
not quite done yet. So you
Yeah.
take the diaper off,
And
and,
then
it,
you're
like
like,
it's still
oh.
coming out, and it's like I didn't have that. Samantha's had that. I've seen it, but it wasn't on me. So
That's terrible.
I laughed. I thought it was hilarious.
Dirty Air has actually gotten dirty here.
Yes,
on
it has.
It's gotten
NASCAR.com.
really crappy.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking the other week about movies. We had a really great conversation about movies. And I know you're a huge Days of Thunder guy, like
Yeah.
all four of us here in this room are. What's your favorite scene or line from Days of Thunder? I know you guys did the little M&M's video.
Yeah, we did. Adam and I were able to do kind of a remake of the commercial. It was really fun. I enjoy a lot of the movies, so there's a lot of them. It's hard to pick out my favorite one, but one of them I'd say is the the unrealisticness of the dropping in the hammer scene. Like you're not running around out there in third gear and you're all of a sudden going to put it in fourth gear, right?
I mean,
Like you're going to put it in fourth gear and you're going to be racing. So there's no such thing as I'm dropping in the hammer. Like, okay, so that's one of them. It's cool, but and then it goes into the neat like music and race car noise and all that. Like I turn up the volume really loud for that scene. I enjoy that one. But then the other one that's just hilarious that I love that I can't get enough of is the I want you to go out there and hit the pace car. Yeah, the hit the pace car one's pretty good because I've had those moments where I've hit about everything on the racetrack and the crew chief's about over it and just hit the pace car. Just get it over with.
Well, hopefully nobody hits a pace car this weekend out there at Charlotte. And Kyle, thank you for joining us on the Dirty Air, and
No
good
problem.
luck out there this weekend.
All right, crappy show, guys. Thanks.
So we're joined now by a surprise guest here on the Dirty Air podcast, Matt Kenseth.
He
Matt,
just popped in.
yeah, just jumped in. No headsets on, just sitting
Well,
down, talking into a microphone.
Yeah, I mean that's
how you roll.
So we're not even prepared. So you are Matt Kenseth, and you drive in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series,
Whelen
correct?
Modified.
Whelen
Oh.
Modified.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
Wheeling or
Dollar
Whalen?
General number 20 in the Whelen
Number
Modified.
8.
Number 8, yeah.
Who is that?
Village Video.
Yeah. Oh, Village Video. Do they still
Actually,
have
number
cassette
8
tapes?
is my friend Donnie
No,
Leah.
that's a
So,
long time ago.
yeah.
Oh, well.
Donnie
Late model is
Donnie
number
Leah
8.
already drives a number 8. You drive? Yeah, your late model
Could
is
be
an
two
8.
of them, can't there?
Like an 8B.
8A and 8B.
8X, like old school.
So what do you want to talk about?
It's going well so far.
Yeah, I know. It is going great. This is probably
well,
the
I
best
wasn't
interview
planning
we've
on
had.
talking about anything, but typically, I usually get interviewed about racing.
Yeah. Well, all right. So
We're
So
not
is there anything you
typical.
want to know about racing? I probably don't have the
Do you
right
like
answer,
racing?
but I'll make something up.
I want to know if Charlotte Motor Speedway was a death metal song, which one would it be?
Ooh.
Death metal song.
Maybe
It doesn't have to
Pantera.
be death metal, but
Because Matt Kenseth likes to rock.
he's
Yeah, you threw me off on that one. That was a great question.
you know I've
That
been
really
I've
was.
been
It
a
was
blind,
saving
like-
it.
a blind
Everyone's-
squirrel finds a nut every once
I've
in a
been
while.
saving it for about 4 years. I covered
Yeah,
some Martinsville races, and I'm like, yeah, this might work. I'll use it when I get my big break.
I don't know. For some reason, he said Pantera, so I kind of have Walk in my head right now. So
I
let's
like.
say that.
You know what? I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that.
Head to
It
head.
was his question though, so
Head to head. You
No, it
and
was your question. It was my answer.
true.
That's how this works.
My
You
question
ask your
for
question,
you.
he responds, and we
And
get
then
matched.
you go with it, right?
Yeah.
How many listeners you guys got in this?
I
podcast?
think about
four.
400,
It's,
maybe.
you know, numbers
400?
Yeah,
aren't
we're building
important.
Yeah.
slowly but surely.
That's cool.
Numbers
Your
aren't
presence will help.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
He's
you
bringing
drive.
pre-
you
wait, you
drive-
brought us
I got a pretty
presents?
big family.
Yeah, yeah.
You brought us presents?
No,
Oh.
no.
So
That was supposed to be a joke, so
No,
we should
yeah.
kind of laugh. You
Yeah.
know, presents, presents.
Oh wait, no, sorry. That was the baby. There's if you had your headphones
Thank
on,
you.
you could hear there's
Thank you.
clapping
There's
in the
clapping.
background.
So you were Ross Kenseth. Who's a better race car driver?
I don't know.
Head to head.
I don't know.
Equal
We've
cars.
raced against each other a few times.
Yeah.
I always gave him a good car when we raced against each other.
So come on,
Is there
you're
always
avoiding my
something
question.
slightly
I
off on it?
think
though?
Ross is a great race car driver. I mean,
You
it's
th- you
not
think-
fair to say who's better.
I don't
mean,
know.
I have
Why
a
not?
little bit more experience than him, so I should be a little bit better at what I do at this point in my career.
Good answer.
I should be.
Should be.
Doesn't mean I am. It should be.
So you might, beat you every. You like my Charlie Drzonbeck modified? We brought toys for you, Matt Kenseth, so you can have a good time here at the
You didn't
Dirty
know
Air
I was coming.
podcast.
This is true. He
Yeah,
just called
did
you
bring
out on
toys
that.
for me, Yeah.
Yeah.
Dillner
Learned a
woke
lot
up with
about
a
you
feeling.
today, Matt, and none of them are exactly good.
All right, we got a actual racing question for you.
cool.
All right, so the year you won your title, you won at Rockingham. Do you know where you finished at Rockingham in that race?
I do. I finished fourth.
Fourth? Mm-hmm. You are correct.
I know.
Ding,
I
ding,
was
ding.
there.
We
We've been trying to stump people today
Yeah.
on random things.
No, I was there.
But it was weird because we
I had a
asked.
little duct tape in my quarter panel because I had a little damage earlier in the day, so there's a little black tape around
Victory
there
Lane
today.
was fun. When,
Yeah, Bill
when
Elliott
it
won the
kinda-
race. That might have been Bill's last win.
Are there any races you forget?
You didn't even know that, so I looked on your face.
I did, and
He
then I was told
driving
in my
for
ear
Ray.
that yes,
yeah,
it
he was
was.
driving for
Do you
Ray. I
remember
think
the
it was his
stage,
best.
championship stage, going and
Yeah.
scaring everybody?
I do, yeah.
Are there
Yeah.
any things you forget? Like, I mean, if you have a bad run, I imagine you remember you have a bad run. But are there any things you remember the wins? Obviously, you remember when you won the title and won at Rockingham. There any things that you forget or try to put out of your mind that you do get to put out of your mind? If that
Oh,
makes
man, I was
sense.
just thinking about something else. I forgot what you asked.
And on that note,
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's pretty funny. So my 4-year-old, I always like talking about my kids. He was just going to have to deal with it since you invited me to sit here. But my 4-year-old, every time I tell her to do something, she ignores me, and she
Smart
gets
kid.
really into TV and does all that and pretty much ignores me. So then I'll tell her again, and she knows that there's going to be trouble. So every time she looks at me, she goes, "I forgot." How'd you forget to pick up your plate? I just told you to like 2 seconds ago. You can't forget in 2 seconds. But anyway, to answer your question, I forget a lot of stuff.
well,
Yeah, it's funny how that works. There's things you want to remember, you
Yeah.
forget, and there's things you just want to forget in the worst way, and you just can't.
Are you going to remember this interview?
Absolutely not.
yeah, I hope you forget this. But thank you for jumping
Actually,
in
Matt,
and
this part about sitting next to you is probably going to be one of those things I want to forget, and I just can't.
Just can't.
I
you
try
can't
and-
just erase it from
I
your
try and
brain.
forget him every day. But thank you for joining us here on the Dirty Air
That's
podcast.
it?
And that's it. It's
Okay.
quick. Yeah.
Simple.
So have a great rest of your day. Yeah.
Great to see you too.
Unless you just have something overwhelmingly that you just have to get off your mind.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Thanks.
We're joined now by Ryan Newman. Ryan, thank you for joining us here in the Dirty Air.
No problem. They made me do it.
I figured, yeah. I got to be honest with you, though. You gained a new fan at Chase Media Day in Chicago with your 12-minute. It was awesome.
What'd I do?
Talking to Miss Sprint Cup
Oh,
for 12
yeah.
minutes.
You
That
derailed
was,
the entire show, and it was awesome.
it was the greatest. I wanted to post the entire 12 minutes on the website and just say, take 12 minutes and watch this.
Yeah, I was.
It was eloquent.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it kind of was effortless too.
It was like you were talking about life and just,
No, it was cool. It was what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be about, right?
Yeah. I mean, we could talk
Have you
about
derailed
racing.
this media day yet?
Nah, I think so. One time, but
One time?
Yeah.
Not on your game, are you?
No, I was, but it was in the theater room there that they asked me.
How'd that go? The
What was
theater
the
room.
question? You remember the question?
Referring to the PR person over here for
Yeah.
the question.
Very animated climbing out of the car.
Yeah.
Daytona.
So you weren't animated climbing out of the car at Daytona?
Oh yeah. And I told him, I said, to get started here, I said, I'm just 2 pills away from being perfect to get started. So don't expect,
just here
don't
so you
expect
don't
a lot
get
of
fined.
energy in my victory lane celebration. So everybody kind of liked that one.
Yeah.
That's the only moment I had.
Right.
I made everybody laugh.
Yeah, well, jokes are good. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
So do you have, like Chuck and I were talking about strategies going into media?
Yeah,
media.
like-
Let's skip that.
No, well, no. Like, do you kind of plan ahead and say, all right, this is my opponent today. I know they're going to ask this type of question, so I'm going to go with this type of answer. Or do you just wing it?
Nah.
You just wing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I was down the street over here and they asked me something. They said, what's your plan for the next 3 races? I said, we're going to finish 6th, 5th, and 4th. And they were like, okay, next question. I said, no, dude, I'm just kidding.
Oh, 6th,
Like-
5th, and 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's our plan. No, like seriously,
Yeah.
we can prescribe this, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you go with like 1st, 2nd, 3rd instead of like,
Yeah, why'd you pick random numbers?
yeah.
I started at 6 and just went one way.
Oh.
It was just the way my mind was working at that
Do you
point.
think those are the finishes you need to advance to the next round?
Mathematically, it's a guarantee.
You want to talk about some farm animals? We know you like animals, so let's.
Yeah.
Let's
You
go.
wanna
Let's
talk
talk
about
about farm
farm
animals.
So, all right,
animals?
so we had a duck. We think it's a
Was it
duck.
a
It's
duck?
not a duck.
Yeah, what
I
was
haven't
it?
even
What
seen
was
it.
it? What-
But Truex told me that he saw a picture of it, and 2 things, all right? Number 1, it did not look like a duck, and number 2,
Did it quack
ducklings
like a
do not
duck?
occur at this time of year.
Well, it had
What
long
was
legs.
It almost
like a
looked.
piper.
It was almost
exactly.
like it was.
It's like
yeah.
one of them,
Or
them
sandpipers or whatever.
dirt digging, like a, it's got the funnel on
So it's like
nose,
the
whatever.
caterpillar
That's what he told me,
of
yeah.
birds.
Yeah,
If
the
it's a
anteater.
dirt
Yeah, the
digger,
anteater of birds, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Wait,
I was
did you
told.
say
I
the
haven't seen the
cat-
picture. Who's got
Oh.
the picture?
Like the cat. It's a
you know what?
sponsor
I was-
plug.
yeah.
I'm helping them out here.
Yeah.
So
Unless
this PR
it was,
person's happy.
unless it was like a, pen-raised duck or something,
But
or
so-
somebody incubated an egg, it's not going to happen.
Do you have ducks on the farm? Do you have chickens
I have
on the
ducks,
farm?
yeah, but at the farm, there are some ducks. Yes.
Gotcha.
There's some
My-
wild ducks and a few native.
My parents
right now.
got chickens this spring, and I went home and they sent me back with 60 eggs.
Yeah,
So
good eating.
Yeah, it's good eating. They
People don't
taste
realize
good.
the difference.
But
yeah.
see, I
You don't
want
have to
bees.
refrigerate them. You just
you
leave
don't
them.
have to refrigerate any
Yeah.
eggs.
Well, if they've been refrigerated,
You don't have to refrigerate
Yeah.
any eggs.
I
They
felt
last,
like it was
what,
only the
3
ones that are
months?
fresh.
No.
It lasts for about like 3 months, I
I
believe.
learned something.
Yes.
But anyways, I want bees, and like it's freaking my wife out that I want a beehive in the backyard of the
Yeah.
neighborhood. But
That's,
they're
that's a
important
little bit
animals.
more work than a chicken. I can tell you that.
Well,
for
yeah,
sure.
but I mean, honey's worth it.
Chicken's not going to sting you.
I just can't. I'm still baffled at the fact that they can advertise local honey for sale out on the road. Right? Isn't that prostitution?
In what?
If that's the case, I've never bought local honey.
It's good for your sinuses. Local honey. Yeah.
Actually, there is a lot of medical benefit. To
Yes,
it. Yes.
I will.
Local allergies and all that stuff. Pollen.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that,
There's
is that
lots
the route you guys want to go with this? Or?
No, I mean,
Probably not.
you know,
I think I'm going to make a left turn.
Okay.
Because we don't want to talk too much racing. We want
NASCAR.
to have fun here
Right.
on the podcast. We pick on each other a lot. This donkey over here, Chuck Bush, I love him very much, but look at him. He lost his hard card last year. Okay,
is that his Ralphie behind him?
that's
Yeah.
that's
Does
him
kinda look
actually
like-
when he was
that's
a kid.
him in a squirrel costume with a Superman cape
it's
on.
Fat Chuck in a
How
squirrel
vain
costume.
is that?
So like he pretty much had to almost like sneak into the track at one point. I heard a story a long time ago that you snuck into the racetrack when you were a
Several
kid
times, yeah.
and talk to AJ Foyt.
Yeah.
What was that?
My
Tell
dad,
me about that.
My dad and I used to. He'd pick me up in middle school, and we'd drive all night. He would drive all night. And we'd get down to Daytona. We'd stay in the Cracker Barrel parking lot. Wake up, and the next morning it'll be the Gatorade Duels, which were the twin 125s at the
Yep.
time. And man, I'm getting old. And we didn't have any tickets or nothing. We just snuck our way in. We'd find the right group to get into the grandstands, and then
Yep.
find the right group to get across the racetrack. In which one time I made it, my dad didn't, which was still cool because that's what he wanted for me anyway. Which at that point I kind of felt like a lost puppy, but we did. We both got in one time, and we
So you
actually
just
got creative
sought out
after a
AJ?
while. Yeah, well, AJ was sitting on the wall before the race, which was not something that any driver does anymore. And here I am talking to AJ Foyt. Just my dad and I are sitting there talking to him for a few minutes, and he went out and ran his race. But yeah, it was. We got used to get creative. Go to the local Winn-Dixie and get construction paper, and once you got a picture of what the old credentials look like, all you had to do was get the lanyard holder, and then put your license or whatever else and kind of in front of it, as long as you had the right colors. I mean, it's not like they're hiring plastic surgeons to put to check credentials. So
Remember, children, don't try this at home.
no, try it at home. Hell, I want you to go to the racetrack. The tracks will survive without your $75.
Well, Ryan, thank you for coming on the Dirty Air and wasting a little bit of time with us. And
You got it.
Enjoy the rest of your...
I mean, they'll get their money back when as soon as they come and are part of our sport. They will get their money back.
And they'll always come back.
Right.
Well, we
We're
hope
here.
you come back sometime.
We're here, right?
Yeah.
We'll be back.
We'll be here.
We'll be back.
We're joined now by four-time champ Jeff Gordon here in studio with the Dirty Air Podcast. Jeff, how you doing today?
This is great, man. I think this is my first time in studio with you guys.
Yeah, you've got like what 500 and
790 starts.
I was off. That was
Short
Jimmy.
of
That
about
had the
200
500.
races.
I know.
Come
Well,
on.
Jimmy had the 500 this year, and
That's a lot more,
I'm horrible with
790.
numbers. That's why I do
So am I.
TV.
2
And
plus
I
2
have
is
a terrible
5 to him.
memory also.
Does he have a terrible memory?
You have a
We should
terrible
we
okay.
should give him a
All right.
memory check.
Quick
Oh,
question.
great.
All right.
Thanks. Let's challenge it further.
2004 Charlotte Chase race. Do you know where you finished?
No, but I know that was the first year of the chase, I believe. So I know I finished third in points that year. That's about all I know.
You finished second on the track at Charlotte that year.
Okay, I'd like to follow that up in 2015.
That would be a good. Well,
I think second.
But you had a bumper cover come off during that race too. Do you
Oh, yeah.
remember who knocked it off?
Was it Rusty Wallace?
Ding
ding,
ding
ding, ding, ding. I wish I had a bell on this thing that I
We don't.
Well, see, now I've got a great memory when it comes to certain
when people knock bumper covers
this
off,
is what
you
my wife
remember it?
tells me as well. But so that was back then, that was sort of the beginning of your bumper gets knocked off, and all of a sudden the car gains a ton of downforce.
takes off.
And so nowadays you'll notice they don't allow bumper covers to get torn off and not repair them.
Jeff Gordon rule.
Trailblazer.
Trailblazer, that's it. Pioneer, as Carl Edwards puts it.
Well, you've raced for so long. Do you have a favorite body style of car? The Lumina, the Monte Carlo SS, the 5th gen or the 6th gen? Like, I like the older stuff. I like the Gen 1 Monte Carlo, the Aero Coupes. But what's your favorite?
I mean, I personally, looking at the car and driving the car, the one we currently have, I love. I think it has the best looks and lines and looks like a real race car. It's down on the ground. It's got the right, sort of taper to it. But in the fender openings, I like how it has the flared fender openings. But from a driving standpoint, I mean, I'm gonna like whatever I drove in 1998, which was I don't know what gen Monte Carlo that was, but I mean, we crushed them in '98, and that car was absolutely incredible.
Times have changed so much with the body styles and stuff, but our lives have changed a lot. Since '98, that was my first year I worked in the sport, and I remember, I think it was about a year ago, I went to a car wash next to my house in Concord, and it had this photo in it when I'm waiting for my car, and it had this young Jeff Gordon.
Oh, I used to go to that one a lot.
In it.
Exactly.
It was right near S&D Coffee.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, that must have been his first years here, obviously. I remember my first time when I moved to Charlotte. I felt like I arrived in this sport. You came from, running sprint cars in Indiana and stuff.
Sure.
What was your aha moment? Not just on the track and with the team, but being in Charlotte. What was your aha moment?
The one for me, and I remember going to that car wash there, and I can remember the first couple of times I went there. I had to pay full price, and nobody knew who the heck I was. and a year or two later, I was going in there getting free car washes. So I was like, yes, this is awesome. But
free car washes, you have arrived.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say the aha moment for me was I was driving up 77. I was living at the lake, and Lake Norman. And I'm driving down the highway and just, passing a car, no big deal. Next exit's mine. I'm going to get off. And maybe they were passing me. I can't remember somehow. And this car just slammed. Yeah, they were passing me because I was getting off the next exit. They slammed on the brakes as they drove by me. I was like, what's going on with this car? And they back up. And, I mean, that split second that they were passing me, they recognized me. And they went absolutely ballistic, and they got in behind me, and I get off on my exit. They follow me, and they just followed me until I finally realized, okay, I'm going to have to pull over because I don't want to drive all the way home. And so we pulled into a parking lot, and they just were freaking out. They're like, we're so sorry, but we have to get your autograph. You're awesome, blah, 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 all that stuff. And so that was the first time anybody stalked me down on a highway, and I knew I have made it. I have officially
we haven't made it. None of us have made it.
Speaking of a highway.
If that ever happens to you, you'll know it.
I've signed one autograph, and it was a kid in the garage.
You signed a kid?
Yeah, I signed a kid.
You have your own expressway now or highway.
Yeah.
It's the big sign on the side of the road. I pass it. What's that like seeing your name? I mean, we talked about seeing your face inside of a car wash, but I mean, you got a road named after you now.
I gotta say, I pick it up about 10 miles per hour when I go through there because I think the chances of me getting out of that ticket are pretty good.
Hey, this is my
Whose
highway, dude. Come on.
This is my highway. I can go.
I was with the kids in the car recently. My parents live not too far from there, and so we're driving through there, and my daughter saw the sign, and she's like, "Papa, your name's on the side of the road." I said, "Well, this is called Jeff Gordon Expressway." That's amazing. So there's nothing better than when your kids think you're cool, and so that's definitely was a great moment.
Well, next year you're obviously transitioning to the booth, so you're going to get used to having these cans on your head. Are you prepared for the TV compound food?
You might start to look like me.
Yeah. This is what happens
really?
after.
It's that good?
This is since 1990.
It is good.
Since
'Cause, I mean, I've
1998.
been used to eating racetrack food for years. I mean, I'm still going to have my bus at the track, and I do have a thing that I like to grill out at night, throughout the weekend. That's the only time you'll ever see me cook. Anything is at the racetrack. I don't.
So Archie doesn't cook for you? You
cooks,
man the grill?
He cooks lunch. He and
Okay.
Tina have done lunch for years, and I can't compete with them. But I try to give them some time off at night, so they'll prepare a lot of things for me, like marinating meat and things like that. So I'll have it there for myself to cook. But I'm sure I'm in for a whole lot of new experiences starting next year. Am I prepared? I'm sure that I'm not, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Jeff, we'll buy you a coffee in the compound when we see you out there on race weekend.
Because it's free.
It is, yeah. It is. But
I never drank coffee until Leo, my second child, came along. And now I realize that I can't live without coffee.
You're going to drink a lot of it working in TV, trust me.
Yes, it is the lifeblood of the TV compound. They keep it running all the time. But, Jeff, thank you for joining us here on the Dirty Air, and good luck this weekend in Charlotte.
Great show, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, through the magic of the internet and technology, we were able to bring you all of those drivers in a condensed fashion. We had to sit down here for a little while and wait them out because there's media rotation. There's a lot of media here today. It's a big day. And this is the time on the show normally where we go to Jonathan Merriman's Eagle Fact of the Week. But what are we going to do, Jonathan?
Well, since the eagle is the symbol of our national freedom, we have the freedom to push it back. We're running pretty heavy on time here, so we're going to hit you with the Eagle Fact next week. The Eagle's still here, so if you're a fan of it,
boom.
If you're not, let us know, and we'll just kind of write it out of the show
find
completely.
something else to do.
Yeah, but instead of the Eagle Fact, let's make our picks because we're racing. It's the hometown race, Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
The first race of the contender round.
Woo!
Excitement abounds here in NASCAR, but Matthew Dillner, real quick, who are you taking? Who's going to win?
Last year we saw sparks and fights and fisticuffs. This week we're going to see a rebound. Jimothy Johnson III, also known as Jim Johnson, also known as Jimmy Johnson, will win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Boom.
Boom.
He's wrong.
We said that was going to happen at Dover, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I did, and
Well, who are you taking this week? Who's not going to win this week since you're picking them?
Well, Joe Gibbs Racing has been on a bit of a slump. I mean, they didn't win at Dover.
They didn't win one race.
So I think Kyle Busch is going to get it done. I think he's going to put Joe Gibbs back in victory lane, and the domination continues.
I'm going to take his teammate and reluctant guest on this show, Matt Kenseth. He didn't want to put his headphones on. That was kind of fun. What was your favorite part?
That was like the
show?
Marshawn Lynch of our show. That was pretty good.
You do look lonely over there with nobody next to you.
I'm like, who do I talk to?
What was your favorite moment of the show? Real quick.
Newman's Local Honey.
Newman's Local Honey?
Newman's Local Honey has to be mine, too. I mean, that was pretty ridiculous.
I'm going to go with Kyle Busch's blowouts. I had a good time with that one. It was a fun day. So as always, remember to log on to YouTube, check out the full replay on YouTube, go into iTunes and search the Dirty Air Podcast.
And you could get if you do it, you might get a free car wash. Like Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon. Free car washes for
That's
Jeff Gordon.
false advertisement.
It is. That is. We cannot in good faith.
Wash your own car.
Misquoting presidents and false advertisement.
That's what this show's
that's what I
about.
bring you.
So for everybody here at the Dirty Air Podcast, for Matthew Dillner, Jonathan Merriman, I'm Chuck Bush reminding you to hop out there in that clean air, chase down the leader, and we'll see you next week back in the pack here in the Dirty Air.
Checker flag.
Last word, always.